Aloha, folks. Welcome to part 2 of Crash Twinsanity. Cortex is pretty pissed off that he lost again. So now him and Crash are getting into one hell of a brawl, and that means we've turned into essentially a ball mode, and we have to dodge all of the various nitro boxes and other hazards that come our way while these two are beating the shit out of each other. The good thing about this ball mode is, like, anytime you stop, the characters will actually get into an animation where they will proceed to beat each other in place, slamming each other across the face, and, oh my. But as soon as you start moving again, you'll be back in your ball formation, and the idea is you want to get Crash and Cortex through the area. There are crystals scattered throughout the level where, like, if you hit them in rapid succession, they will cause a whole bunch of cave-ins, which will drop a whole bunch of platforms so that you can reach extra lives and stuff. And there are gems to collect in this area, so first off, take a left branch through this sign if you want to pick up a yellow-colored gem. If you go down the wrong pathway, well, then you kind of miss out on it. You can actually backtrack a little bit. This isn't like I'm going downhill, so I'm constantly rolling. You can actually pull back on the control stick to not only slow yourself down, but also to reverse your direction completely. Like, I'm going down the right split in order to get a colored gem, but if I accidentally went down the left split, I could actually pull back and go back the way I came, and then go into the right split to try and get the green colored gem, you know. So you do have a little bit more control than it looks like in this particular section, and you do need to stop them in time because there's lots of pipes that are leaking out a whole bunch of poison gas or acid, or I'm not really sure what the green stuff is that's being shot out, but that damages you. And once again, with 2 Aku Aku masks, you're only really allowed to take like 3 hits. So, you can't see the mask when you're in ball formation, but it's still there. You can still take a few hits as long as you had an Aku Aku mask going in, you know. I just like this idea that Crash and Cortex are beating the shit out of each other, and they're punching each other and kicking each other so much that they're going all around this crazy mine shaft, all throughout these caverns, getting to where they need to go. This gem's a little bit tricky because you have to push very lightly with the control stick in order to bounce on these spring boxes. If you go too fast, if you go too forward, you'll find yourself overshooting and then going right into the bottomless pit below, and that costs you a life. So when I go to that particular gem, when I go to those box springs, I just slowly tap myself into them. That way I'll launch high, I'll go a little bit forward, but not too forward, you know. With the right practice, you can get used to it, no problem, but with this gem, just keep holding left every chance you get. These platforms with the red X on them, they will collapse if you're on them for too long, so make sure you're not on them for too long.
Well, well, a power crystal.
Oh god, mole people! I don't know what it is about this particular area. I should have an Aku Aku mask when I destroy the box right here, but for some reason it doesn't spawn. And I've done like numerous test playthroughs in this area, and the masks never really spawn, but I can still take damage and survive the hit, so I don't know where Aku Aku is at this particular moment. But with this drill, you just want to slam down on the 4 buttons. It's not about killing all of the various robot mole people that come out.
Yes! The crystal is mine! Ah! Keep back, you weak-minded fool! Avert your gaze or you'll go crystal crazy!
Give me that crystal! So you try spinning into Cortex, and then you grab the crystal, but I spin, I run with it. Cortex will not let go of this damn thing. Let go of the crystal, Cortex, goddammit! Get off this thing! Cortex just has a ridiculous iron grip. He will not let go of this crystal at all, no matter what you do to him. So, we're probably going to have to drag this guy along, going through this level, and spinning him on red cranks to use the elevators and such. So, have fun, Cortex!
Throw me over there. Trust me. We're pals, right?
And they're teaching you that if you throw Cortex at switches, he will go up to them and push them for you so that he can lower platforms, create bridges, help you with your platforming and stuff. And there is a gem in the background as well, so this also teaches you that if you throw Cortex at the gem, he can potentially pick it up and collect it. And that counts towards your overall gem collection. So just because Crash himself can't reach it, oh, you can throw Cortex at it and he'll pick it up for you. Booyah! If you haven't seen this game before, you may be getting the idea that Crash and Cortex are probably going to be teaming up for the majority of this game. So get used to this gameplay style, folks, because we're going to be doing this for quite a while. But not so much the ball formation stuff. When Cortex and Crash start going downhill and they start punching each other and stuff, this is actually the only time in the game that this happens, if I recall correctly. I did do a test playthrough, unless there's some optional area I completely missed out on, and considering I found all the gems, I doubt it. But, yeah, we're not going to be doing too much of this ball stuff for the rest of the game. The other good thing about having Cortex is that when you come up to metal boxes, you can't really break them unless you jump slam into them, but if you use Cortex's big yellow melon, you can smash them right through everything and get a ridiculous amount of Wumpa Fruits when you do so. So, feel free to smash Cortex into whatever. Remember, he's the villain of the series. He deserves it. He paralyzed your sister and then dressed up as him. Sorry, dressed up as her. Alright, with this section, there's going to be a drill chasing after you. It's the mole people again. And you want to get up as fast as you can while hitting the crystals along the way, because that will cause a whole bunch of cave-ins that will push the drill back down. Because it's a lot faster than you are. It's a lot faster than the elevators you're operating. So, constantly hit the crystals along the way in order to make sure the cave-ins happen. And pay attention, because there is a red gem right there. Booyah! And you don't want to miss out on that. Ooh!
Give it to me!
Well, if Cortex could warp, why didn't he just do that in the first place? Either way, I got all 6 of the colored gems in this particular area, so yeah! Now that Cortex has run off, we're back to just usual Crash. Again, that was the only time we really do that ball thing where Cortex and Crash start beating the crap out of each other. It controls pretty well. I remember the first time I played this, it was a little bit weird at first just because it was a completely new gameplay style that I hadn't really experienced up to that point. But with enough practice and the fact that you know you can just sort of pull back to slow down or go the completely opposite direction, and that the slants aren't really dictating where you're going too much, it's a little bit easier to control knowing all that. But yeah, daylight, we're out.
Whew, that feels good. I was bursting in there.
Cower, you fools, before the awesome might of the evil twins.
Aren't you two adorable? Let me see. I might have some chalky treats here for you.
Chalky treats? Oh!
We've some good news and some bad.
The bad news? We're going to destroy your precious islands.
The good, you won't be around to see it.
How tiresome.
Oh, you want to play mind games? Okay, tough guy. Let's play mind games. This is the part where you run away screaming. Go on, run!
Catch you later, Brainiac!
So in case you're wondering why this game is called Crash Twinsanity, it's not referring to the fact that Cortex and Crash have to team up for this particular adventure. The main villains of the game are a couple of twin birds who are going to be doing some evil, nefarious stuff throughout the game. So we have our villains, ladies and gentlemen. We have our villains. There are 2 gems on this beach, and every time you want to get to them, you generally have to just destroy a whole bunch of nitro boxes. First one, you just hit TNT, the bundle of hay runs into the nitro, no problem. Here, I need to reach that plunger, and there's some more baby chickens. Oh yeah, you know what to do. Chase them to their death. Oh yeah! It's for the greater good, okay? Those gems are going to help me get the best ending in the game. Oh wait, those are the other Crash games. They're going to make me feel special, and I need the self-esteem. There you go. You'll notice I have 5 of 6 gems for this particular area. This area counts as the same as where Crash's house is, so it's like the main hub of Insanity Island, I suppose. But it's broken off in between levels. You know, it's broken off between the cavern area. It's broken off between the Papu Papu tribes area that I'm going up to next. So, yeah. Either way. The one tricky thing about platforming in Crash Twinsanity, I would say, is that the drop shadow sometimes isn't really there, or it's really hard to make out and it's not very visible. And quite often you're going to find yourself jumping on all of these metal boxes over bottomless pits, and it's a little bit hard to know how much you've moved forward, how high or close it is to you in relation. And sometimes you can overshoot, sometimes you can undershoot, sometimes you're not really sure if you're right directly above the platforms you're trying to land on, which can make the platforming a little bit tricky. I think if you practice it enough, you definitely see that, like, they are... The way the distance is, you always know to take, like, regular jumps or double jumps. But hey, there's Cortex. His brain's back in his head somehow.
You have to help me, Crash. You heard them. They want to destroy our island home, humiliate and enslave you, and steal my brain. How I envy the simple life of the tribesfolk. Living in harmony with Mother Nature, the noble boar, the humble bumblebee. Ah!
Okay, this section's pretty great. If Cortex dies, that means it's a game over for us. Well, we lose a life anyway. Even though he's our established nemesis who is only up to no good, we kind of have to save him if we're going to stop the evil twins in this game. So, he's getting chased by a whole bunch of bees. He's always running in one linear pathway. He will take corners every now and then, but he cannot stop. The bees are chasing him, so if he sees spikes right ahead of him, he can't really do anything about it. If there's no bridge underneath him, he will fall into the water and he will die. So constantly, you're chasing along with him, making sure weights are being held up, and then dropping them after he's passed under them. Now he can't see where he's going because he's got a beehive on him. I really like this. During this entire segment, there is an a cappella version of Flight of the Bumblebee going on in the background, by the way. The soundtrack of this game is glorious. I really love the music track we're going to be hearing in Part 3 when we start getting into the Tribes Village and stuff, but you have these stumps you have to push down twice in order to make sure he doesn't run into the spikes. He has bear traps he has to dodge by you jumping on them and closing them for him. He still helps you get through the pathway as well, so sometimes you'll have to wait for Cortex, but you know, it's nothing too crazy. There are 2 gems scattered throughout this pathway that are pretty easy to spot. One's the green gem in the foreground, pretty hard to miss. Another one, well, you need to destroy the nitro boxes anyway, because it lowers the thing that Cortex is going to run into. So you're bound to see the pink gem where the nitro boxes are, and that's all 2 of the gems for this particular chase. You do have to be kind of fast, I will say that. There's definitely a little bit of trial and error here, where if you're not familiar what you're supposed to be doing when you first try this, if you're not moving as quickly as you possibly can, there's a chance Cortex might run into a plant creature, or spikes, or whatever, and get himself killed. So, be quick, my friends. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. And now Cortex has been captured by Papu Papu, the first boss of the original Crash Bandicoot. Oh boy. we're probably going to have to save him in part 3. So, until then, folks.